to throw these randomly, seemingly unrelated events to you, and you tell me what you think. Ready?
Yep.
LeBron James, we know that he has 2 houses in Brentwood that are worth $43 million combined.
I've heard this.
We know that last summer, Maverick Carter had lunch with Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, and the next day, D'Angelo Russell and Timothy Mozgov's contract was traded to the Nets. We know that Rich Paul, who runs Clutch, who completely screwed up Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's next contract and tried to think it was going to be something great, and all of a sudden he was the last man standing at the altar and had nowhere to go. All of a sudden they needed a suitor for him, and he needed a safe face. Well, guess who was sitting there waiting for him? That's right, the Lakers, with the 1 year, $18 million contract that he had no chance of getting anywhere else. So know that happened.
Yeah, 1 year was big money.
Now today, who's sitting there ready to help the Cavaliers and take a first-round pick and some cap space off their hands? The Los Angeles Lakers, who now have room for 2 max contracts. Now, if we're talking about this 3 years from now and LeBron's on the Lakers, and we're saying to ourselves, all of these signs were there, what were we doing? Why weren't we? How did we not know it was going to play out this way? Combined with the fact that I forgot to mention, Kyrie just randomly decided he wanted out last year. Now, I think he wanted out because they found out they were trying to trade him. But, there's also a piece of it that he wanted out because maybe he knew that LeBron wasn't sticking around after a year. He was going to be left holding the groceries.
I think he was...
Hey, what's good, Laker fans? This is Chuck, Charles Ryan, Chucky Atkins, Charles Barkley, whatever you want to call me. But most importantly, I go by KB24 status. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bulls game and then a little bit about the this famous segment that has gotten critical acclaim so much of about, I don't know, how many views does my first video have? Just a handful, starting out slow. So the agenda is Bulls game and then story time, and that's very basic. And let's start with first a little bit house cleaning, actually. I say in the description that you'll see, it's in all caps, unedited, uncensored, and raw, and that is really implying that anything goes in a sense. If I come off as a little bit too harsh, I mean, I would bleep it, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to. These are genuine reactions after every single game, and I really try to put my heart and soul into this genuine reaction, because it's not like I'm planning what to say 100%. It's off the cuff, quote unquote, about right after the game ends, and then I'll add a little bit of structure later. You'll notice perhaps in the future, or maybe you don't think that, I'm not sure, but that's what's going to be. It's going to be unedited, raw, because it's my genuine, immediate reaction. And especially when there's back-to-back games, which will be, I think the Lakers only have 4 more sets of back-to-back games. I know they have one coming up before the All-Star break. They might have another one. They might have another one prior to that. But That's all I'm aware of. But for those back-to-back games, I will post back-to-back, but don't expect an hour video on those. Don't expect 30 minutes or 40 minutes, probably more of the lower end, because back-to-back games are tough. They're tough for the players. They're tough for the podcasters. What can you expect? Additionally, I am KB24 status once again, and we're going to dive right into this. So the Lakers defeated the Bulls on Tuesday night. And the end was a little bit scary. I got to admit that was pretty unsettling, but we pulled it out. I mean, only the Lakers can be up 17 with 2 minutes and 45 seconds and then completely relinquish it down to 5, I believe, with what was it, 20 seconds? I mean, only the Lakers. And I said this before, I'll say it again. The past 7 years, I've seen this so many times. I saw it with Julius Randle against the Thunder game a couple years ago. So many other times where the players just lose their composure and they just can't focus and relax. I mean, the Bulls players, half of them on the court, I've never heard before. Like, I had to do some research, and I really don't understand why we can't just be a consistent team when it comes to closing out games, because our half-court offense just all of a sudden disappears, it seems like, in the final few minutes, and things just go downhill. And that's been a constant concept throughout this whole entire season, even with LeBron sometimes. Unfortunately, as you probably know if you watch the game, the fans did not receive tacos, which are about worth $1, but I guess they're so significant that the nosebleeders need them. I don't know. No, but I am really, really excited after this game because we play the Thunder, I believe, and that is a Friday night game. Unfortunately, LeBron will not be in attendance. And, is it the Thunder? I have to know this. I don't understand how I don't remember these things. Yes, we are playing at the Thunder Thursday night, not Friday night. Sorry. But we should win that game. I really think so. Westbrook is no LeBron, if you're not aware of no LeBron, but I think we should win that game because Westbrook's playing terribly, and it's just about locking up Paul George. And if you can do that, I think we'll be fine. We've actually put up good fights against the Thunder over these rebuilding years, and I think Luke kind of has good strategy against them, but we'll see. They have a day off in between. They had a day off in between, which was good. I really am appreciative of the schedule because we won't have LeBron, but there's no back-to-backs. So that's nice. And then I want to focus really quickly, not so much, on Lonzo's stat line, 19, 8, 6, 2. 3 turnovers isn't it's not the worst thing in the world, but bounce back game, 42% from 3, 47% from the field. I mean, I really, really, really think this guy is going to be our best player over the next 15 years. He'll eventually reach that best player threshold and carry the mantle from LeBron whenever he leaves. I honestly think Lonzo will be in the stands. I really do. And that sounds crazy. Like, Pau Gasol's not going in those bleachers. He's not going up there. But I just think Lonzo has an uncanny ability to do so many different things at once. And even though he'll have 4 points one game, he might have 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks also, and have active hands on defense. He leads the league. He has one of the highest deflection rates, which is, deflecting balls on defense and changing the direction and all that, if you didn't know. That's really, 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 really looking forward to his play versus Thunder and on Westbrook. Ingram played well. Kuz played well. Pretty much the whole squad, starting lineup, played well. Unfortunately, Lance only got 3 minutes. My boy Lance, but it's okay. We'll get that guitar strumming soon. So, really quick, a little bit more about Lonzo, because he has the job of locking up Westbrook, like I said, but he also needs to really do the same thing that he did to Paul George last game, which was when on switches, he would body him, and if my memory serves me correct, he sometimes would go under the screen too, which really pissed me off. When Russ was dribbling it up like it was like Mike D'Antoni, 7 seconds or less. He'd just dribble under the screen. He'd just go under the screen, let Paul George have that wide open 3 almost every time. It was really upsetting, and that's happened other times against the Thunder, but especially last time we played them, that seemed to be a common theme, not just with Lonzo, but we need to focus on that, get that on lockdown. We need get that communication between Lonzo and KCP down, or Lonzo and BI, whoever's guarding PG. Maybe even Kuz will do it. I have no idea, but we'll see. But the last time we played the Thunder was January 2nd, and that was the game where there was a shot in the tunnel of a video clip of LeBron, Magic, and Pelinka, just staring from the tunnel, and you can tell they were furious, and they were down, Lakers were down by 10 with, I don't know, it was the third quarter or fourth quarter, but I'll attach that photo. But it was just the funniest thing, because I think in that moment is when the evaluations of everything really started to crank up, especially now. There's obviously been a few games we let get away from ourselves, like the Kings game, what other game that we let get away? What was that? I should know this. The Knicks game. Yeah, the Knicks game. We just didn't come out hitting. It was ridiculous. You don't lose to one of the worst teams in the league, like the way the Lakers did. So that was really upsetting. And I'm going to let it go to story time right now. I really appreciate those who have stuck with it so far. I'll keep harping on this. The more I do this, the more views I'll get, and the more people will listen, and the more constructive criticism I can get. And I really appreciate that. I don't mind comments. If you don't want to leave comments, that's fine. If you don't listen to the full 35 minutes, that's completely understandable. This is in podcast form, everything will be, it'll be easier for people to listen to these, if that makes sense, because they're already there on the podcast networks, or people actually listen to the podcast. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna switch it over to story time. Take it away.
All right, now let's do today's story time. It's going to be brief and quick, and then in a few hours I need to record for the Thunder game tonight. Okay, so this is not as, I guess, I don't know, deep dive into certain things, so it's going to be short, but when I was at Derek Fisher Basketball Academy, which I mentioned before, I was there the day that Meta World Peace got traded to the Lakers. And Derek Fisher is really nice because he's there every single day. Unlike some camps, like Michael Jordan camp where Michael would just show up the last day. But Derek, he was always there. He really cared, oversaw the kids every single hour, every single day. And I went up to him and I asked him, I said, so what do you think of Meta joining your team? And he's like, oh man, he's a really hard competitor, plays a lot of defense. And I was like, are you worried that he's going to get like really mad and hurt someone? And then he laughed and he was like, no, but Charlie, everything's going to be fine and we're going to win. And sure enough, guess what happened? They got that ring. And I was so happy that it all worked out. And, of course, he changed his name to Meta World Peace the next year. But Derek was super funny in that moment. I remember he was a super cool guy. The camp was at, I don't know if you need the details, but the camp was at Hanger Athletic Exchange in El Segundo. And it was also downtown LA. So it was close enough to the Lakers facility that he would be there all the time, over the summer. And he was really just a really genuine down-to-earth guy. And I look forward to him being the Sparks coach. But that's today's story time, straight into the point. I promised the Thunder podcast, or just even more in the future. There's about, 35 Laker games left in the season before the playoffs. So I'll crank out at least 35 more in case they don't make the playoffs. But that's the story time. Thanks a lot. Go Lakers, and I think we can get this Thunder win.